My parents uninvited my wife from Christmas for my sister's 2-week boyfriend, so I stopped paying their taxes and everything imploded Reddit stories. They thought they could erase Hannah from the holiday like she was an inconvenience while still expecting my $42,000 in help. But when the payments stopped, the county treasurer delivered a reality check that shook my entire family. Hi, I'm Mark, 34, and this Christmas I learned exactly how much I actually mattered to my parents. Spoiler, not enough to compete with my sister's latest boyfriend of 14 days. And that realization kicked off the most expensive family drama my parents have ever experienced, courtesy of the county treasurer's office. So, context. I've been married to Hannah, 32, for 8 years. Been together for 11. She's a pediatric nurse, works brutal shifts, still finds a way to bake muffins for coworkers and send my mom birthday cards without fail. Meanwhile, my family treats her like she's the girl I picked up from a rideshare pool. My parents, retired postal worker and school secretary, live in a small Missouri town. Cute place, low crime, high property taxes. Too high for their fixed income, apparently, because for the last 3 years, guess who's been paying those property taxes? Yep. Me. To the tune of $42,000 total. Every time it was. Just this once, unexpected expense, a little behind this year. And every time I paid. Because that's what good sons do, right? But the crown jewel of this whole mess? The moment my mom called me in November and said, with absolute confidence, "We've been reviewing the space situation. With your sister bringing her new boyfriend, we don't really have room for you and Hannah at Christmas this year. You understand?" I asked how long this boyfriend had been around. Mom said, "Almost 2 weeks. 2 weeks. Hannah, 8 years in the family, got bumped for a guy named Preston who probably still had the new boyfriend's smell on him." I said, "No problem." Mom sounded relieved. Mistake number 1. Because the moment I hung up, I logged into the county treasurer's website, opened the automatic tax payment I'd been making for them every year, and clicked cancel. I didn't say a word. Didn't warn them. Just let the system run its course. Spoiler, the system does not run kindly. And my parents were about to find out that no room for my wife also meant no money for your property taxes. The first couple of weeks after I canceled the automatic payment were suspiciously peaceful. No calls. No drama. My parents were too busy posting pictures of the perfect family Christmas prep with Brianna and Preston. There was even a photo of Preston helping my dad hang Christmas lights, captioned, "So nice to have real family around for the holidays." Real family? The kind that had known you 13 days. Meanwhile, Hannah baked a batch of peppermint brownies to bring to the Christmas she got uninvited from. She left them cooling on the counter, shrugged, and said, "Well, I guess we'll enjoy them. If that woman isn't a saint, I don't know who is." Christmas Eve rolled around and my phone exploded with group texts. Pictures of everyone smiling around the table. Preston sitting in my seat. Preston cutting our traditional ham like he had seniority. Mom posting selfies with the caption, "When everyone you love is finally together." I turned my phone off. Hannah and I watched movies, played board games, and had, ironically, the most peaceful Christmas we've ever had. Then January hit. Suddenly the silence ended. I was at work reviewing hydraulic flow rate calculations when Dad called. His tone was baffled, like he'd discovered gravity had stopped working. "Hey son, weird thing. The property tax payment didn't go through. Do you know what's going on?" I said, "Yes." Long pause. "Okay, so, what happened?" "I stopped paying." Another long pause. Longer. Confusion loading, buffering, reaching 89%. Why? Now here's the thing. I could have launched into a whole speech about respect and boundaries and how my wife is not a piece of IKEA furniture you can move in and out of holiday plans depending on seating arrangements. But I kept it simple. I figured since there wasn't room for my wife at Christmas, there shouldn't be room for my money either. Dad exhaled like he'd been punched. Are you seriously doing this because of seeding? No, Dad. I was doing it because of respect. Seeding was just the symptom of a much bigger disease. He sputtered something about misunderstandings and being dramatic, but I told him I had a meeting and hung up. 2 days later came the next call. Then the next. Then the county sent them the first delinquency notice, with penalties added. That's when the panic messages started. Hey son, call us back. We're getting late fees. You always handled this. Can you explain what's going on with the bank? This is serious. And my personal favorite. You're putting our home at risk. Not me, Dad. Just the consequences of your own choices catching up. This is where everything went from mild family tension to county government boss fight. By mid-February, the unpaid taxes had snowballed with penalties. What started as $6,000 had jumped to almost $7,500. And my parents were finally realizing the county treasurer does not accept. But our son always pays. We didn't expect this. Family misunderstanding. Nope. The county wants money, not feelings. Then came the letter. The official notice of pending tax lien. It was addressed to my parents, but I got the call, because of course I did. Dad's voice was somewhere between furious, betrayed, and confused, like I had personally invented property tax law just to spite them. Do you have any idea what this means? A lien, Mark. A lien. Yeah, I said. It means you should pay your taxes. That's your responsibility. We counted on you. Ah, yes. The family motto. Not, we love you. Not, we appreciate you. But, we counted on you. I said, you counted on me the way you counted on Hannah to magically vanish so Brianna's 2-week boyfriend could have a comfortable Christmas. Silence. Dense, heavy, offended silence. Then Dad tried guilt. Then anger. Then bargaining. Then the classic parental move, rewriting history with Olympic-level speed. We didn't exclude Hannah. It was a space issue. Right. A 3-bedroom home with a finished basement suddenly ran out of atoms. And Brianna really wanted us to meet Preston. You met him. He lived at your house for 48 hours like a Christmas raccoon. Mom took the phone then, crying. You're tearing this family apart over nothing. Nothing. My wife of 8 years, nothing. 3 years of paying their taxes, nothing. Respect, nothing. That's when I snapped. This isn't about Christmas anymore. It's about the fact that you expect me to bankroll your lifestyle while treating my wife like she's optional. Well, guess what? Your taxes are optional too. For me. They didn't like that answer. Because 2 weeks later, the county officially filed the lien. And my parents officially realized something terrifying. The county treasurer doesn't care about their emotional arguments. And I wasn't going to save them this time. The meltdown that followed? Oh, we're just getting started. After the lien hit, my parents entered what I can only describe as the 5 stages of, oh God, Mark isn't paying. Stage 1, denial. Dad kept insisting there must have been a computer glitch. He even marched down to the county office to explain the situation, as if carrying his way through would magically make taxes optional. Spoiler. The county clerk did not care. Stage 2, anger. I got a message from my mom that said, we never would have uninvited you if we knew you'd react like this. Right. That's the apology equivalent of, I'm sorry you found out. Then Brianna texted, grow up. Family helps family. Which is hilarious coming from someone whose contribution to our parents' life is reposting inspirational quotes on Instagram. Stage 3, bargaining. Dad left me this voicemail. Okay, look, maybe we made a mistake. How about we pretend Christmas didn't happen? Just pay the taxes and we'll move forward. Pretend Christmas didn't happen. My wife was uninvited so Preston, king of 2-week relationships, could sit at the table. You don't just pretend that away. Stage 4, depression. Mom started sending messages like, we're so overwhelmed. We don't know how to fix this. This is tearing us apart. All of which translated to, we don't want consequences. Fix it. Stage 5, desperation. And that's when Brianna entered full meltdown mode. She sent a rapid-fire series of texts. You're punishing Mom and Dad over nothing. Preston didn't even like Christmas that much. It wasn't that serious. Are you really going to let them lose their home? They could be homeless, Mark. First, Preston didn't like Christmas? Fantastic. Even more reason he didn't need a seat. Second, I wasn't letting anything happen. Actions, consequences. But the best message? Just because they made one mistake doesn't mean you get to destroy their lives. One mistake? Sister, I have receipts. $42,000 worth of receipts. And we're not even at the wild part yet. Because by March, I got a call not from my parents, but from the county treasurer's office. And trust me, when a county official calls you personally, things are about to get messy. The call came on a Thursday afternoon, while I was reviewing blueprints. My phone lit up with a number from my parents' county. I figured it was another automated notice. Nope. It was an actual treasurer's office employee, using an actual serious government tone, the kind that makes you sit up straight even when you know you didn't do anything wrong. Hi, is this Mark, last name? Yes? This is the county treasurer's office. We're contacting you regarding the delinquent taxes for your parents' property. We understand you've been the payer of record for the last 3 years. I swear my soul temporarily left my body. I said, "Oh, I'm no longer responsible for those payments," she said, and this is verbatim. Yes. That's extremely obvious. I almost laughed. She continued, "Given the homeowner's financial troubles, we wanted to confirm whether you intended to resume payments before the property moves to tax sale." This woman did not know it, but she just asked the funniest possible question. I said, "No. That will not be happening." A pause. A professional pause. She exhaled like she'd been waiting to say this all day. Understood. We just needed clarification. Please inform your parents that the property is scheduled for auction on July 15th unless the full amount is paid. I could hear papers shuffling, like she was pulling up the balance just to twist the knife. Current amount owed, she continued, including penalties and interest, is $8,432. 8,432.17 the part that always makes it feel personal. She thanked me for my time and hung up before I could even respond. 10 minutes later, the storm hit. Dad called from one number. Mom from another. Brianna from a third. My aunt from a fourth. Even my uncle, who once asked if Hannah was one of those nurses who wipes kids' noses all day, called to scold me. My parents had obviously told the entire family that I was about to personally bulldoze their house with my bare hands. But the best part. Brianna left a voicemail practically hyperventilating. "Mark, answer your phone. Mom is crying. Dad is yelling. This is your fault. We're about to be the family that loses their home at a county auction. Do you know how embarrassing that is?" Oh yes. I did. That was the point. You can't treat my wife like a folding chair and expect me to bankroll your life forever. But the absolute peak comedy? My mom sent a text that said, "If the county takes our house, it will be because you overreacted to a guest list." Ah, yes. Because nothing says healthy family dynamics like blaming your son for the actions of the county government. And while this emotional hurricane was blowing through my phone, I was sitting on the couch watching Hannah fold laundry, absolutely unaware she was the reason a tax sale clock was ticking down in Missouri. I hadn't told her yet. Not because I was hiding it. But because, well, how do you casually tell your wife? "Hey babe, my parents chose Preston over you at Christmas, and now the county might repossess their house." Yeah. I needed timing. So I waited until she sat down beside me, placed her hand on my knee and said, "You okay? You look like someone just told you your project is over budget." I took a breath. "Hannah, there's something we need to talk about." Hannah didn't even flinch. She just tucked her legs under herself on the couch and gave me the same calm, steady look she gives terrified parents in the ER. "Okay," she said. "Tell me." So I did. Everything. The Christmas call. The uninvitation. My decision to stop paying. The growing debt. The county notices. The upcoming tax sale. By the time I finished, she wasn't angry. She wasn't upset. She was sad. Not for herself, for me. "You've been carrying this by yourself for months," she whispered. "Why?" I ran a hand through my hair. "Because I didn't want you to feel guilty. You didn't do anything wrong." She leaned her head on my shoulder. "I know. But we're supposed to be a team. When something affects you, it affects me." I nodded. "I know. And I'm sorry." She squeezed my hand. "So what now?" I shrugged. "They have 5 weeks to pay. After that, the county takes the house." She let out a long breath. "That's rough." I laughed, humorless. "Yeah." She was quiet for a moment, thinking. Then she said the last thing I expected. "Do you want to help them?" "No," I said immediately. She raised an eyebrow. "You didn't even think about it." "There's nothing to think about. I bailed them out for 3 years. I paid more in taxes on a house I don't own than on my own student loans. And they acted like you were the folding chair version of a daughter-in-law, something they could shove aside when inconvenient." She gave a tiny smile. "That's actually a good metaphor. But do you want to help them?" I asked. She thought for a long moment. "No," she finally said. "I don't. Not after Christmas." Good. Validation. Relief. But then she added, "I also don't want you to feel guilty for the rest of your life if they lose their house." I froze. "I won't," I said. She stared at me. "Okay," she said softly. "Then I believe you." But I could tell she wasn't convinced. Not because she doubted me. Because she knows me. She knows I'm the kind of person who stops on highways for stranded motorists at night. She knows I shovel the old neighbor's driveway every winter without being asked. She knows I once drove an hour to deliver paperwork a coworker forgot, and didn't even tell anyone. She knows I help, even when I shouldn't. And she knew the weight of this wasn't going to sit light on me. That night, as we got ready for bed, she pulled me into a hug and whispered, "Whatever happens, we handle it together. Okay?" Okay. But when the lights were out and Hannah fell asleep, I lay awake staring at the ceiling. The guilt didn't come. The regret didn't come. Just anger. 8 years. 8 Christmases. 8 years of my wife bending over backward for a family that couldn't even make space for her at the holiday table. And for Preston. Preston. A guy whose name sounds like a rejected frat house in a teen comedy. No. No guilt. No regret. There was one lesson my parents were finally going to learn. You don't get to treat someone like they don't matter and still expect their support. Especially not when the county treasurer is watching. The first real crack in the Cold War came on a Tuesday morning when my dad called from a number that looked like it belonged to a dentist's office. I let it ring. Then another call. Different number. Same area code. Ignored. Then a voicemail, the kind that starts with a sigh so heavy you can practically smell the guilt. "Son, the county sent another notice. We really need to talk." I didn't call back. 2 hours later, Mom tried. Then Brianna. Then my aunt. Apparently the "Oh, don't worry, OP always pays" fantasy bubble had finally popped. By week's end, the property tax bill had ballooned past $8,000. And the county wasn't playing. The big red envelope arrived next, the official notice of pending tax sale. That got their attention. Around 9 p.m., my phone buzzed again. This time, Hannah glanced at the screen and frowned. Your mom again. I exhaled. I'll answer. I picked up. Mom didn't even say hello. What are we supposed to do? She demanded. They've scheduled a hearing. A hearing? For a tax sale. We could lose the house. You should pay your property taxes, I said calmly. We can't, she snapped. You know we can't. We're on a fixed income. This is cruel. Not as cruel as uninviting your daughter-in-law at Christmas to make space for a stranger. That was a misunderstanding. A very specific misunderstanding that lasted an entire phone call. Mom's voice wavered. Please. We're desperate. Where's Brianna? I asked. Is she helping? She has expenses. She's in Nashville this weekend. Mom hesitated. How did you? She posted a boomerang at a rooftop bar. Try again. Silence. Then she said the one sentence guaranteed to make my blood boil. We thought you, of all people, would never abandon us. I closed my eyes and let the anger settle. Heavy. Cold. Focused. I didn't abandon you, I said. I stopped letting you exploit me. You're punishing us. No, I said. I'm letting consequences do their job. That landed. I heard it. The tiny, sharp inhale. The O. Mom didn't yell this time. She pleaded. Please, talk to your father. He's beside himself. Dad got on the line breathless, like he'd run a marathon made entirely of panic attacks. Son, please. Just this once. Help us get caught up. We'll pay you back. With what? I asked. Your fixed income? Your Social Security check? He didn't answer. Dad, I said quietly, you built your entire budget around the assumption that I would always bail you out. But then you made it clear, very clear, that Hannah and I weren't important enough to include at Christmas. That was one night. Exactly, I said. One night. One decision. One choice that told me everything I needed to know. Silence. Then, very quietly, we're going to lose the house. Then you should figure it out, I said. The same way Hannah and I figure out our bills every month. Mom's voice cracked. This isn't you. You're not vindictive. I'm not, I said. But I'm done being your safety net. You're going to regret this. She whispered. No, I said. I already regret letting it go on this long. Click. They hung up first. Hannah looked at me from the couch, worry in her eyes. You okay? Yeah, I said, surprising myself. Actually, yeah. That night, I finally slept, deep, heavy, peaceful. Meanwhile, the clock kept ticking. The penalties kept growing. The county kept marching forward. And for the first time in 3 years, none of that was my problem. The next blow-up came on a quiet Saturday morning, the kind where Hannah was still asleep and I was sipping coffee, enjoying the kind of peace you only notice when your phone isn't exploding. Then it exploded. Dad again. FaceTime. He never FaceTimes. I answered, mostly because I needed to know how bad things had gotten. His face filled the screen, eyes bloodshot, hair sticking up like he'd aged 10 years overnight. They posted the notice, he said, voice shaking. What notice? He flipped the camera. A sheet of paper was taped to their front door, bright, fluorescent orange, the kind usually reserved for condemned buildings and foreclosure warnings. Final delinquency notice, property subject to tax sale. I leaned back. Well, I said, at least they're clear. He looked back at me, desperate. Do you think this is funny? No, I said. But I do think it's preventable. We don't have the money, he snapped. We tried everything. We've borrowed from friends, sold what we could. Your mother pawned her wedding ring for God's sake. She what? He rubbed his face. She said it wasn't worth anything, but still. We're out of options. We need help. We need you. The entitlement in that last word was not subtle. Dad, I said slowly, you need to understand something. Not want. Not hope. Need. You created a financial snowball and rolled it downhill for years. I kept stopping it before it crushed you. Now I'm not. That's it. He looked at me like I'd slapped him. You're our son. And Hannah is my wife. That landed harder than anything else I'd said. He opened his mouth. Closed it. Opened it again. Then he said the quiet part out loud. Brianna was upset. We had to prioritize. There it is. I cut in. You didn't uninvite us because of space. You uninvited us because Brianna wanted to impress some guy she barely knew. His silence was confirmation. It wasn't personal. He muttered. It was exactly personal. He swallowed. Can we come to some sort of arrangement? Sure, I said. You pay your taxes. That's the arrangement. He sagged like I'd deflated him. We're going to lose the house. Then you'll rebuild, I said. Like adults do. He stared at the screen, furious and humiliated, and for the first time in my life I didn't feel scared of his anger. I felt nothing. He ended the call. That afternoon, Hannah came home from a double shift. She collapsed onto the couch, kicked off her shoes, and rested her head in my lap. Long day? I asked. She nodded. Screaming toddlers, stomach bugs, one kid who shoved a Lego up his nose. Oof. She looked up at me, tired but warm. How's the tax apocalypse? Loud, I said. She snorted. Any progress? They're panicking. They're out of money. They're out of excuses. They want me to magically fix everything. She traced small circles on my arm. And what do you want? I didn't have to think long. I want them to learn that actions have consequences. And that you're not disposable. Her expression softened, not emotional, not teary, just proud. You know, she said, I don't need revenge. I know. I don't need them to lose the house. I know. I just need them to treat us like actual family. Not optional seating. My chest tightened, not in a painful way, but in that quiet, meaningful way that comes from finally understanding what someone deserves. And if they don't? I asked. Then we build our own family somewhere else. She said simply. People who want us. People who value us. The image hit me hard, a life without this constant draining cycle of guilt and obligation. Peaceful holidays. Stress-free phone calls. Room to breathe. She closed her eyes and drifted into that half-sleep nurse's master after years of exhaustion. I stroked her hair, thinking. I'm not letting anyone treat her like less ever again. Not my parents. Not Brianna. Not anyone. Meanwhile, at my parents' house, the county clock kept ticking. Day by day. Penalty by penalty. Dollar by dollar. And for the first time in decades, they finally had to face their finances. Without me. By midweek the panic reached, let's call it biblical proportions. I knew things were escalating when my aunt, the one who once told Hannah she didn't seem like a Christmas person, called me. On a Wednesday. At 6:14 a.m. Like a debt collector with caffeine poisoning. I answered because I was curious what flavor of dramatic guilt trip she'd bring. She didn't disappoint. Do you realize, she started without greeting, that your parents could end up on the street? Well, I said, sipping coffee. Luckily the street has plenty of room. Unlike their Christmas table. That threw her off balance. A pause, a small static crackle then. This is not a joking matter. Your mother is inconsolable. Mom cries when the grocery store is out of avocados. Another pause. This is different. No, I said. It's finally the same. Same responsibility everyone else has. Same bills. Same consequences. She switched tactics. Your father has high blood pressure. Do you want him to have a stroke? Oh, so now it's my fault the county wants money that isn't mine? This is elder abuse. Aunt Linda. I said calmly. Elder abuse is when people take advantage of the elderly. Not when the elderly stop taking advantage of me. Silence. Then a click. Call ended. I laughed so hard I almost spilled my coffee. By Thursday, things took a turn from mildly dramatic to family-wide meltdown. Mom texted the entire family group chat, including cousins, aunts, uncles, and one random neighbor who somehow ended up in there 8 years ago. Mom, we may lose the house. We're devastated. Prayers appreciated. Yep. Prayers. Not help. Not advice. Prayers. Immediately, the pity party began. Cousin Ashley. OMG, no, this is heartbreaking. Uncle Wayne. Sending love and strength, folded hands. Brianna. It's been really hard on us. Some people don't care about family. And there it was. The opening shot. I waited. Let the chat simmer. Then typed. Me. For the record, the county absolutely cares more about property taxes than about Brianna's dates lasting longer than a haircut cycle. The group chat exploded. Cousins choosing sides. Aunts gasping virtually. My uncle using too many exclamation marks. Brianna sending 6 paragraphs about betrayal and loyalty, and how I don't understand the pressure she's under. But then something surprising happened. Someone unexpected chimed in. Hannah. She never, ever, talks in family chats. But today, she sent one message. Hannah. Your son paid $42,000 of your taxes over 3 years. You removed me from Christmas so a stranger could sit at your table. We are not responsible for the consequences you created. I hope things work out for you, but please stop blaming us for your choices. Just that. The chat went dead silent. 16 people. Not a single reply. I stared at the screen, stunned. Proud. A little in love all over again. She really said that? I asked. Hannah shrugged like she hadn't just delivered an emotional airstrike. They needed to hear it, she said. By Friday, the dam broke. Dad called me again, voice small, defeated. Son, I'm sorry. I didn't say anything. I'm sorry for Christmas. I'm sorry for taking advantage. I'm sorry for everything. Still silent. It shouldn't have taken a tax sale to show us. We were wrong. About you. About Hannah. About a lot of things. I finally spoke. Dad? What do you want? We want to make things right. How? We want. He swallowed. To ask Hannah to come to Christmas next year as family? Proper family. She deserves that. And the taxes? We'll handle them, he said quietly. We found the last $400. We sold the lawn tractor. He sounded embarrassed. I didn't celebrate. Didn't gloat. Just said, okay. Okay? He repeated, almost afraid. Yeah, I said. Okay. We hung up. I turned to Hannah. They found the money, I said. She looked relieved. Good, she whispered. I didn't want them to lose the house. And that was the moment I realized. This woman didn't need revenge. Didn't need groveling. Didn't need the satisfaction of seeing people fall. She just needed something simple. Respect. Finally, after years, she had it. But the story wasn't over. Oh no. The real twist came 2 days later, when Brianna showed up at our apartment building unannounced. In sunglasses. Holding iced coffee. Looking like a hungover raccoon. And apparently ready for a confrontation. There was a sharp, irritated knock at our apartment door, the kind of knock that says I'm here to make my problem your problem. Hannah froze halfway through folding laundry. I checked the peephole, sighed, and stepped back. Well, I muttered, the raccoon princess has arrived. Because there she was. Brianna. Sunglasses indoors. Messy bun that probably cost $70 at a salon. Holding a giant iced coffee she absolutely couldn't afford. I opened the door just enough to avoid physical contact with her aura of chaos. She marched past me anyway, because boundaries are merely decorative suggestions to people like her. "We need to talk," she announced. Hannah set down a t-shirt slowly, calmly. I shut the door and leaned against it. "Make it quick," I said. She stabbed her straw into her cup like it had insulted her. "I just came from Mom and Dad's," she said dramatically. "They are devastated. Completely destroyed. Crying. Shaking. They can't even sleep." Hannah raised an eyebrow. "What does that have to do with us?" Brianna turned toward her so fast her bun bobbled. "You," she said, pointing dramatically, "made Mom cry." Hannah blinked. "By asking them to stop blaming us?" Brianna flared. "That message was so cruel, Hannah. You embarrassed them in the family chat. Everyone saw." "Good," Hannah said honestly. "They needed accountability." I swear I saw Brianna glitch like a computer freezing. Then she turned to me. "And you," she said, jabbing a finger at my chest, "are the reason they almost lost their house." I let her finish. Then I crossed my arms. "Let me ask you something," I said. "While Mom and Dad were panicking about the tax sale, where were you?" She blinked. "I was busy. At a rooftop bar in Nashville." "That was work." Hannah coughed lightly. "Your story said girls' trip?" Brianna faltered. Then regrouped. "You always do this. You always act like you're the responsible one. The hero. The martyr. Newsflash, you're not better than me." I gave her a long, slow look. "I paid $42,000 of property taxes. That doesn't make you better," she snapped. "That makes you a sucker." There it was. The real Brianna. The one my parents never wanted to admit existed. "Mom and Dad had an arrangement with you," she continued. "You helped them. That's what family does." Hannah quietly replied before I could. "No. That's what you do, use family." Brianna's mouth dropped open. "You can't talk to me like that." "I just did," Hannah said gently. "And I'll do it again." I stepped between them. "Why are you here, Brianna?" She took a deep breath, gearing up for a performance. "Mom and Dad told me everything," she said. "About your little ultimatum." "My what?" "That they had to apologize to Hannah or you wouldn't help them." I stared at her. "That's not what happened." "Close enough," she said triumphantly. "And you manipulated them into humiliating themselves." I pinched the bridge of my nose. "They humiliated themselves by excluding us from Christmas." "That was one night," she said. "And Preston was important." "Well," Hannah said with a soft smile, "he was important enough for him to propose to someone else while dating you." Brianna physically recoiled. "How do you even know about that?" "You posted it on Instagram," Hannah said. "Cryface selfie, inspirational quote, the whole thing." Brianna stared at her iced coffee like it had betrayed her. Then, the real reason she was here came spilling out. "Mom and Dad want things to go back to normal," she said. "They're forgiving you. So you need to forgive them and keep helping." Everyone agreed. Everyone. Meaning? Mom. Dad. Her. Not Hannah. Not me. "So," she said, crossing her arms, "you're going to start paying the taxes again." I laughed. Actually laughed. "No," I said. She blinked. "What do you mean, no?" "I mean no," I said. "As in no. As in never again." Her mouth flapped like she was buffering. But they can't afford." "That's not my problem." "And they'll fall behind again." "That's not my problem." "And the county will." "Still not my problem." She stomped her foot, literally stomped her foot like a toddler losing at Candyland. "You're ruining this family." "No," Hannah said softly. "We're saving ourselves from it." Then she walked to the door, opened it, and gestured politely. "Goodbye, Brianna." Brianna sputtered. "You can't kick me out." You're just the wife. Hannah didn't flinch. And this, she said, is my home. That was that. Brianna stormed out, muttering and swearing, dropping her iced coffee in the hallway. I closed the door. Locked it. Turned back to Hannah. You handled that like a Navy SEAL. She grinned. I work with toddlers. She's just taller. We laughed. But outside? I knew Brianna wasn't done. People like her don't take boundaries as answers. They take them as dares. The storm didn't hit right away. It simmered. Brianna went quiet for a full week, which was honestly unnerving, like when a toddler stops making noise in the other room and you know they're either asleep or drawing on the walls and sharp. We found out which one it was soon enough. It happened on a Sunday morning. Hannah and I were having pancakes, quiet music playing, sun coming through the blinds. Peace. Then my phone started buzzing, texts, calls, notifications stacking so fast the screen froze. I picked it up. Mom. Dad. Aunt Linda. Uncle Wayne. 3 cousins. My sister's best friend for some reason. All sending variations of, "What did you do? Answer your phone. Your sister is hysterical. She's at the house crying." And one from Dad. "Fix this." Fix what? I had no idea. Until Brianna called. Screaming. "You ruined everything!" "What now?" I asked, already exhausted. "My job!" she shrieked. "My reputation! You had no right!" "What are you talking about?" She sniffed dramatically. "You turned Mom and Dad against me." Ah. There it was. "What?" I blinked. "They barely tolerate you on a good day." She gasped like I had slapped her with a Bible. "You don't understand. They told me I need to grow up." "Me? They said you were right about the taxes. That you were right about Christmas. That they were wrong." She sounded physically injured. "And then," she wailed, "Dad told me I need to start being financially responsible because they're done bailing me out too." I had to bite my lip to keep from laughing. "So your problem," I said slowly, "is that our parents finally stopped enabling you?" "Yes," she screamed. "Then the kicker. This is your fault." "No," I corrected her. "This is their fault. And yours. You lit the fire. I just stopped throwing money on it." She didn't like that answer. "This isn't over," she said, voice trembling with manufactured rage. "You think you're better than me? You're nothing without this family." I almost dropped my phone laughing. "I've been paying the family's bills for 3 years," I said. "If anything, you're nothing without me." She hung up with the grace of a slammed laptop. I stared at my phone for a moment. Then Hannah set down her fork. "So that went well?" I burst out laughing. She did too. 2 days later, my parents came to visit us. Unannounced but calmer. Not raging. Not crying. Just older. Tired in a way I hadn't seen before. We let them in. Hannah put on tea. We sat around our little living room, an awkward triangle of tension and humility. Mom spoke first. "We talked to Brianna," she said softly. "Really talked. Probably for the first time in years." Dad nodded, staring at his hands. "And we realized something," Mom continued. "We spent so long trying to protect her from consequences that we taught her to expect other people to fix her problems." Dad added, "We taught her to expect you to fix ours." Hannah sat beside me, quiet, warm. "I'm sorry," Mom said. "To both of you." Dad cleared his throat. "We're done relying on you. Truly. We adjusted our budget, sold things we didn't need, and downsized some plans. We won't put that burden on you again." I didn't say anything at first. Hannah squeezed my hand. "We want you two at Christmas this year," Mom said. "Both of you. No conditions. No special guests. No. Preston. Please come," Dad added. Hannah smiled, soft, cautious, but real. "We'll be there," she said. And just like that, a weight lifted that I didn't realize had been sitting on my chest for years. Not because everything was magically fixed. Not because they suddenly became perfect parents. Not because all was forgiven. But because, maybe for the first time ever, my parents saw Hannah. Really saw her. As family. Christmas came. We drove down early. The house looked the same, but the energy didn't. There was an extra place setting for Hannah, not shoved on the corner, not squeezed somewhere, but beside Mom, where family sits. There was her favorite pie cooling on the counter. There was a small stocking with her name sewn on it. There was genuine, earnest warmth. Dinner was calm. Conversation was easy. Even Brianna, sulking in the corner with a cup of wine, stayed mostly quiet, shooting us occasional death glares but keeping her commentary to a minimum. Small miracles. At the end of the night, while everyone was saying goodbyes, Mom hugged Hannah and whispered, loud enough for me to hear, "I'm glad you're in our family." When we got into the car to go back to the hotel, Hannah buckled her seatbelt and said, "That was, actually, really nice." "Yeah," I admitted. "It was." She smiled at me, warm and sleepy from good food and holiday lights. "You know," she said, "you didn't do all this to punish them. You did it to protect us." "Maybe," I said. She took my hand. "No, maybe. You chose our marriage. That's what a partner does." I kissed her forehead. And for the first time in a long time, the holidays felt peaceful. Not perfect. Not fixed. Just peaceful. Which was all we ever wanted.